want some revenue for the government needs revenue perhaps, or I'm taxing big boats because I believe that there's some externalities to big boats. They use too much gasoline, and all the costs of big boats are not internalized in the people who use them. So, I provide a tax of big boats from budget line 1 to budget line 2. The vertical distance between the two graphs, that's the size of my tax for this individual. The more big boats, or square footage if you will, of big boats they buy, the higher the tax will be. If they don't buy any big boats, if they're up here, which is where I'm at, the tax on big boats doesn't affect them at all. And somewhere down here, at this point C, the reason I'm at point C is that there was an indifference curve here, a difference curve 2. And I started at some point A on a difference curve 1. So that's a tax on big boats, that's the effect. But I wouldn't want to stop there because there's so much more we can think about. Some people might say, well, we're trying to soak it to the rich. And there's some middle-income people who own big boats. We don't want to hurt them. So, what will we do? Let's make sure that anybody, under $100,000 of income who has a big boat is not at all hurt by this tax on big boats. How do we make sure that people under $100,000 of income are not hurt by my tax on big boats? We get them back to the original happiness level. So they face the tax on big boats, but then we get them all the way back to their original indifference curve, original happiness level. In order to have them not hurt, once again, we get them to the old utility, or old indifference curve, utility, or the old indifference curve, the old I curve, but face the new prices. This is called the CV, or compensating variation. It's the old utility with the new prices. If I want them to face the more expensive boats, that's this budget line here. The reason the budget line gets steeper is that the budget line slope is PBV over price of all the goods. And this price has gone up. Maybe I'm charging a per unit tax of whatever it is, $5,000 per boat per year or something. It doesn't matter what size it is. The idea is that in some way we're making these big boats more expensive by putting a per unit tax on them. And I decided that I want to make sure that I make anybody under $100,000 of income face a tax on big boats, but not make them any less happy than they were before the tax. In order to do that, what I'm going to need to do is take the more expensive boat prices, that's this new budget line here that's more expensive, and I'm going to have to, how am I going to make them more happy, or happy enough to be back to the old indifference curve? I need to give them enough money to get there. I need to give them enough money, more incomes to shift out parallel on the budget line. So I need to give them enough money to get right to this budget line there. This much money. Here to here. And they'll end up not at point A again. They'll end up at point B. Because the reason they'll buy less big boats is that I'm making them equally happy by giving them more money, but they're facing more expensive boat prices all year. Yes.
Can you pick where the B goes, or is there
No,
supposed to be a
this is
certain?
a good question. This is specific. It will be always tangent or equal in slope to the indifference curve, and will always be to the left of it for sure in the case of price increases, because I'm going to choose less boats to buy if boats are more expensive.
Right, but so.
Basically I sort of brought this out until it just reached the indifference curve. I brought it up. If I only did it to here, there was no place where it would hit the indifference curve. That wouldn't be enough money. So,
Oh, I see what
so
you
I need to give them a little more money, like, I mean, this is an actual amount of money, this might be giving them, $6,000 or something. That's literally, like, each year I'm giving them now, $6,000 should not be affected by the boat tax.
But so, if I were to have the B lower on indifference curve 1, as long as
That would
I
be
make
like-
the line.
The only way it would be sort of lower, the only way it'd be lower if my indifference curve actually took this shape,
Uh-huh.
would be if I gave you even more money. But even then, you get to a higher difference curve. So no, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be anywhere but there. Because if I gave you more money, you get to a higher difference curve. If I gave you less money, if you're successfully maximizing your utility, and that's what we're assuming right now, is that people are actually managing to successfully get to their highest happiness level, make their choices based on good information and get as happy as possible. In that case, yeah, it would have to be where they're equal in slope. Because that's the first place where this budget line would meet there. It would always be in a place where you buy less big boats if the price of big boats got higher, because you're getting as happy as possible. But now, one good in the world is more expensive than everything else. So what you're going to do is you're going to adjust by sort of buying less of that one good and more of everything else. And that's what's going to get you back to, from C to B, is more income. Or if you think about these 2 points, A and B, the reason they're lines of equal happiness is that at point A, you're equally happy to B with different allocations, because between the 2 points, to move between them, you'd have to give up a certain amount of big boats, maybe get a smaller big boat, and then have the advantage of getting other goods that you are able to buy. But so that's one policy possibility to help a certain set of consumers to not be affected by this tax. Another